HP just rewired how its entire global workforce operates, not with a new hire, not with expensive consultants, with one AI model. And the results they published this week should completely change how you think about your own work. Because what HP figured out at enterprise scale, you can do it yourself. This week, for free. Here's what actually happened. HP announced it has scaled its use of OpenAI's frontier model across its global operations. The specific goal was workflow optimization. That phrase sounds corporate and boring, but what it actually means is this. HP looked at where its employees were spending time on repetitive, predictable tasks, things that follow a pattern every single time. Reports, summaries, internal communications, data analysis. Then it replaced those tasks with AI, not replace the people, replace the task. That distinction matters more than most people realize. And here's the part that genuinely surprised me. The biggest efficiency gains were not in the largest departments. They were in the smallest operational units, teams of 2 or 3 people, individual contributors managing their own workloads. That is not a coincidence. That is a pattern. Think about what that actually means for you. If you run a small business, you are already a lean operation. You do not have layers of management absorbing inefficiency. Every hour you waste is directly felt in your revenue. Every repetitive task you do manually is money you are not making. Large companies have always had an advantage in automation. They could hire entire teams to build systems. They could afford software licenses that cost thousands per month. They could dedicate people just to operational improvement. You could not, until now. Because the same model HP just deployed across its global workforce, you can access it today. Through ChatGPT, through the OpenAI API, through tools that cost less than a streaming subscription. This is where things get genuinely interesting. Let me give you a real example of what workflow optimization looks like in practice. Imagine you run a small marketing consultancy. Every week you write the same types of client reports, different numbers, different clients, same structure every time. That report takes you 3 hours to write manually. With a properly built AI workflow, that report takes 12 minutes. You give the AI your data, your template, your tone guidelines, it drafts. You review, you approve, 3 hours becomes 12 minutes. Multiply that across 4 clients. That is nearly 10 hours returned to your week, every single week. That is what HP just paid significant money to discover. You can discover the same thing this afternoon. Now, if you are finding this useful, consider subscribing for more practical AI insights every week. There is a new video every Monday breaking down what is actually happening in AI and what it means for your real life and your real work. So how do you actually build this for yourself? There are 3 steps. Let's walk through them simply. Step 1 is identifying your repetitive tasks. Grab a piece of paper right now. Write down every task you do more than once a week, customer emails, invoice follow-ups, social media posts, project status updates, weekly summaries, research for client calls. Any task you have done more than 10 times in the last month qualifies. Circle the ones that follow a consistent structure, same format, different information each time. Those are your automation targets. Step 2 is building your first AI workflow. Start with the task that takes the most time. Open ChatGPT. Tell it exactly what that task is. Tell it the format you want the output in. Tell it the tone and the audience. Give it one example of what a good output looks like. Then ask it to generate a template prompt you can reuse every time. This is called a system prompt, and it is the most valuable thing most small business owners have never built. A system prompt is just a set of instructions you save once. Every time you need that task done, you paste in the fresh data. The AI does the rest. Hold that thought for a second, because this compounds over time in a way that is genuinely exciting. The first time you build this, it might take you an hour. The second time you use it, it saves you 2 hours. By month 3, that single workflow has returned more time to you than you spent building it. And you can build more than one. Most small business owners who do this seriously end up with 5 to 10 saved workflows inside ChatGPT, each one handling a different repetitive task, each one running in minutes instead of hours. This is not a future thing. This is not a technical thing. This is what HP just paid enterprise money to formalize, and you can start this week without a budget. Step 3 is scaling intelligently. Once you have 2 or 3 basic workflows running, start connecting them. This is where tools like Zapier or Make.com come in. You can connect ChatGPT to your email. When a new client inquiry arrives, a workflow automatically drafts a response. You review and send with one click. You can connect it to your calendar. Before every client call, an AI-generated briefing appears automatically. 3 bullet points about what that client last discussed with you. You can connect it to your invoicing. When a project closes, A follow-up workflow triggers automatically. None of this requires coding. None of this requires a developer. None of this requires an IT team. This is exactly the kind of operational infrastructure that used to separate large companies from small ones, and that gap closed significantly this week. Here's something worth pausing on. The reason HP made this announcement publicly matters. Enterprise companies do not announce AI integrations casually. They announce them when results are proven and repeatable. When HP says it has scaled OpenAI's frontier model across global operations to optimize workflows, that is boardroom language for one thing. It works. The ROI is real. And when an enterprise this large validates a workflow strategy, the practical logic behind it almost always scales down. The same principles that work for 10,000 employees work for a team of one. This is where small business owners have an advantage that gets overlooked. You move faster. You do not need committees. You do not need procurement approval. You can decide to try something today and have results by Friday. Let me bring this down to the most practical possible level. Here are 3 specific workflows you can build this week. Number 1, client email drafting. Every time a client emails you with a standard request, you paste the email into ChatGPT with a saved prompt that says, "Draft a professional reply in my tone confirming the request and outlining next steps." Done in 60 seconds instead of 10 minutes. Number 2, weekly business summary. Every Friday, paste your week's notes into a prompt that says, "Summarize this week's activity into a 1-paragraph update for my records, including wins, pending items, and next week's priorities." Done in 30 seconds. Perfect for client check-ins or your own business tracking. Number 3, proposal first draft. When a new prospect asks for pricing or a proposal, paste their inquiry into a prompt that generates an outline of your services, your pricing rationale, and a call to action. You edit it, you personalize it, but the structure is already there. That alone saves most consultants and freelancers 2 to 3 hours per new client. These are not complicated, they are just consistent, and consistency is what makes them compound. One more thing before we close. The timing here actually matters. AI tools are becoming more powerful every month. The people who learn to use them now before the market fully catches up will have a skill that improves their income for years. Not because they know the most advanced technology, because they built the habit of applying AI to their real work. That habit is worth more than any certificate or course. And it starts with something as simple as building your first saved ChatGPT workflow. HP spent enterprise budget to prove the concept. You just need to copy the logic. What task in your life or business would you automate first if you had 12 free minutes to set it up? Drop it in the comments. Let's figure it out together.